Pesto gets its name from the Italian word pestile, which means to pound or to crush. Today, I'm going to demonstrate how to prepare the traditional pesto recipe in 3 variations, including 2 vegan options using 4 different types of leaves. Originating in Genoa, Italy, pesto alla Genovese is considered the original pesto. However, making the authentic version requires a specific type of basil known as basil, a cultivar of sweet basil. But don't worry if you can't find that exact variety. Most supermarkets carry sweet basil, albeit from different cultivars. The only challenge is ensuring its freshness, which can vary from batch to batch. If it's not as fresh or you can't use it immediately, here's a way to revive or preserve it. Start by trimming off any broken stems and removing any blackened, wilted, or fallen leaves. Place the stems in fresh water and wrap the leaves in a plastic bag. Let them sit at room temperature for a couple of hours to rehydrate, or store them in the refrigerator overnight to maintain freshness. Pesto relies solely on leaves, so be sure to use the freshest ones available. Here I've gathered about 30 grams, roughly about 2 cups. Give them a gentle wash a few times, drain them well, and pat them completely dry. Now, authentic pesto alla Genovese insists on using mortar and pestle. Here I have 2 cloves of garlic and a pinch of coarse sea salt. Crush them lightly and grind them into fine paste. Next, add 15 grams of toasted pine nuts. Here's the trick. Instead of pounding, move the pestle around to grind them, allowing the nuts to release their natural oil until they form a smooth paste. Then add the basil in several batches. Each time, rotate the pestle around to grind them rather than pounding to maximize the release of essential oils. This method also prevents the ingredients, especially the basil, from heating up, as exposure to heat can cause oxidation. The drawback is that it requires some muscle work, and the paste may not be as smooth, but that adds character to a pesto. Now, Parmigiano Reggiano is a classic cheese for pesto. Here I've added 30 grams, finely shredded. If you prefer a sharper flavor, substitute an extra 10 to 20 grams of Parmigiano Reggiano with Pecorino Romano. Here I've added 12 grams, which adds enough sharpness for my taste. Finally, drizzling about 2 tablespoons of high-quality extra virgin olive oil. Mix till fully incorporated into the paste, and your classic pesto alla Genovese is done. It should be a thick paste but not dry. Use it immediately, but if you can't, transfer it to a narrow-mouthed jar, cover it with a layer of olive oil, seal the lid, and store in the refrigerator for up to a week. Now, here's a variation featuring celtuce, also known as Chinese lettuce. Celtuce is primarily prized for its stems, but its leaves are often overlooked. However, they boast a refreshing nutty flavor and are actually more nutritious than stems. Simply pluck the leaves from 2 celtuces and give them a thorough wash. Trim off the white-colored lower ends, leaving only the green parts. Then slice them in shorter pieces. Pat them dry with paper towels. For this pesto, I'm opting for the food processor. To it, add 6 cloves of garlic and the celtuce leaves. Cover with the lid and pulse till finely shredded. Next, add 90 grams of toasted sunflower seeds and pulse again, scraping down the sides as needed. I prefer not to leave the blender running continuously to avoid overheating the ingredients. At this stage, the paste should be quite thick and doesn't need to be completely smooth. Now add 60 grams of Emmental. Pulse briefly each time and then give it a final 5-second pulse. Scrape down the sides, then add 6 grams coarse sea salt and about a half cup of extra virgin olive oil. Pulse to combine, adjusting the consistency with more oil if desired. Taste the pesto and adjust the seasoning as needed. Use immediately or store covered with olive oil in the refrigerator. For the first vegan version, opt for celery leaves. Here I have approximately 125 grams of leaves from about 900 grams of celery. Wash them thoroughly and remove the excess water using a salad spinner or by patting them dry with kitchen towels. I'm using a large mortar for this version. To it, add 6 cloves of garlic and a teaspoon of coarse sea salt, and grind them into fine paste. Add 90 grams of toasted walnuts in 2 portions, grinding until they release their oil and form a sticky paste. Then add the celery leaves in batches, grinding them into paste after each addition. You can use a food processor for this step for quicker results, but I prefer the mortar to avoid the hassle of cleaning afterward. Now add about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Mix till fully incorporated in the paste, and this creamy pesto is ready. Since this pesto doesn't contain any cheese, it boasts a vibrant green color and looks nicer. Use immediately or store in the refrigerator. Now bear with me for the final vegan version with the seasonal treaty, Toon. Toon is from Chinese toon tree with a short edible period, boasting unique onion-like flavor. While the bread leaves are more flavorful, I'm opting for the greener ones for visual appeal. Toon tends to be high in nitrites, especially when aged, so it's best to use leaves as fresh as possible. Also, blanching them in some water for 1 minute effectively removes most of nitrites. After blanching, immerse the leaves in cold water, then drain and squeeze out as much water as possible. Now in a mortar, add 2 cloves of garlic and a 1/4 tablespoon of coarse sea salt. Grind them into paste. Then add 35 grams of toasted cashew nuts and grind them into paste as well. Next, add half of the toon leaves. I recommend pounding for this pesto rather than grinding as a sticky version. Then add the remaining half of the leaves. Once the forms a paste, squeeze in lime juice from a small wedge. Don't add too much, starting with a half a teaspoon, as it's just there to balance out the sweetness of the cashews. Finally, add about 1.5 tablespoons of oil used to preserve sun-dried tomatoes, or simply use regular olive oil. Mix everything together into paste, and this unique toon pesto is ready. This one tastes slightly sweet with a hint of acidity and a nutty flavor. The cashews truly transform the taste of toon. Pesto is both a sauce and spread. It pairs with crackers and bread and can be used creatively with baked rice cakes. Of course, the most common way to enjoy pesto is mixed with pasta. That's all for today. Hope you try some of the pestos. Bye for now and see you next time. Like, subscribe, comment, share if you find it helpful.